Well, so a lot of dust flying around, but that breeze is easing as the high pressure continues to slip south across the UK for the rest of this week. But as well as being dry, it's also cloudier today. You can see the extent of the cloud, particularly in the north and the east on the satellite picture. The best of the sunshine across Wales and the southwest, which is actually where we've got the highest levels of pollen, tree pollen sufferers at the moment, having those high levels to contend with in the south and the west. Well, plenty of sunshine as well here in Coedpoeth in Wrexham. Further north, though, rather more cloud across North Yorkshire, as you can see. And in fact, the cloud does look quite menacing. It's producing a few showers. They're not numerous, but they are popping up and down across the Pennines, up into southern and central parts of Scotland, one or two in the southeast of Northern Ireland. They could pop up just about anywhere, but you'll be very unlucky if you catch more than one. So for the rest of the afternoon, the cloud tends to increase across England and Wales, perhaps breaks a little bit more in the north, but temperatures are several degrees down on those of yesterday, so it does feel chilly out there, or certainly cooler if you're under the cloud and in the breeze. Now that breeze starts to come down from the north overnight, dragging in more cloud, so limiting the frost somewhat across the north of Scotland, but elsewhere, like last night where we keep the skies clear, it will be chilly again. We could have a touch of frost, certainly ground frost, but it means the best of the sunshine will again be in the morning, and we should see more for Northern Ireland tomorrow. Again, western areas and southern areas seeing the best of the morning sunshine, but I do think we'll see a general increase in cloud tomorrow as the day goes on. And temperatures again struggling just because of that breeze coming down from the north or the northeast, only 9s and 10s on the east coast. And then through tomorrow night and Wednesday, we do it all again. But because that high pressure is slipping southwards, it will be trapping our cloud underneath it. The winds are falling light away from the south coast, so there's nothing to blow the cloud away either. So I think Wednesday again looks as if it'll be on the cool side for most of us, with more limited sunshine, even in southern and western areas by that stage. But the high pressure does keep things mostly dry, as you can see. Keen breeze coming across in the south still. But for most of us, it's the same story, that of dry and settled weather right until the end of the working week, if not beyond, Clive.
All right, Helen, thank you for that. Helen Willis there. And a reminder of our top story this lunchtime. Emmanuel Macron wins a second term as French president, vowing to unite a divided country. That's it from me and the team, so goodbye. Now on BBC One, time for the news where you are. Have a very good afternoon.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Jones. The headlines in Wales. New mum Rhian didn't see a health visitor for 2 months during the pandemic. Concern now missed appointments could mean safety issues or mental health problems were missed. And Welshman Luke Simons is freed after 5 years detained illegally in Yemen. Good afternoon. Pnawn da. There are concerns child safety issues and parents' mental health problems could have been missed after health visiting services were hampered by the pandemic. The NSPCC says visits stopped for many and were held over the phone instead. While the Royal College of Nursing says some specialist nurses were redeployed to other units within hospitals. Mallory Williams reports.
3 weeks into the first lockdown, new mother Rhian didn't know what to expect after Elsie was born. With her and her partner's family far from Cardiff, turning to the health visitor for help was the only option when she felt things weren't quite right.
I was a bit concerned because I didn't think she was feeding well. They just said, even though I phoned them several times, they were like, oh, as long as she's putting a bit of weight on and you're getting wet nappies, then that's all fine. It would have been nice to see someone more face to face, just to kind of confirm things, because all you want is that reassurance that you're doing things right.
But it wasn't just the feeding. Rhian realises now that her mental health was affected too.
I just felt as if I was asking for support and I was asking for help. And they were giving some advice over the phone, but it wasn't the support that I wanted.
Cardiff and Vale University Health Board has apologised for not being able to visit Rhian sooner and said that adaptations had to be made to many services.
Like many other staff within the NHS in Wales, some health visitors were redeployed to other units within hospitals to help with the spread of the virus. Some specialist units were set up in communities and parents were urged to ring to ask for support rather than the usual routine visits. And some now question whether that was the right decision.
If these visits are missed, There could be a real missed opportunity to identify any families that are experiencing perinatal mental health problems, and any babies or young children that might not be meeting those developmental milestones.
The Welsh Government says that services had to be changed in response to the pandemic, but face-to-face contacts are expected to have resumed for some in March 2021, with virtual meetings still taking place based on the health visitor's judgment. And Elsie is now a happy 2-year-old, and this young family hope to move on from a challenging few years.
A man has appeared in Swansea Crown Court accused of murdering a 2-year-old girl in Pembrokeshire. Lola James suffered a serious head injury at her Haverfordwest home in 2020. She died later in hospital. 30-year-old Kyle Bevan from Aberystwyth has been charged with her murder. Lola's mother, 29-year-old Sinead James from Neyland, has been charged with causing or allowing the death of a child. She didn't appear in court after testing COVID positive. A Cardiff man held in Yemen for 5 years has been released and is on his way back to Wales. Luke Simons was seized in 2017 by rebel fighters who wrongly believed he was a spy. Colette Hume has been following developments and she joins us now. Colette, what more do we know?
Well, Jen, it was yesterday afternoon that the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss announced that Luke Simons from Cardiff was being released after 5 years of detention in Yemen. His release had been brokered by the Saudis and the Omanis. And as we speak, he is in Oman awaiting a flight back to the UK and to be reunited with his family. Now, we know that Luke converted to Islam at the age of 18. He moved to Yemen, studied at an Islamic school there, and then began teaching Yemeni children English. He married, but when the civil war broke out, he decided quite understandably that it would be safer for his young family to return to Wales. But Houthi rebels believed wrongly that Luke, a British passport holder, was a spy, and they took him into custody. And he spent the last 5 years in detention. And Amnesty International, which has campaigned along with his family for his release, say that Luke has suffered some appalling conditions.
We've had reports from Luke's family that he's been denied access to medical treatment, denied access to family contact and family visits, and he's been held in solitary confinement for a lot of his detention as well, and has suffered injuries, including his arm broken at a point during his detention.
So why has Luke been released now? Well, we don't know the official answer to that question, but a UN-brokered ceasefire is holding. That began at the start of April, and Ramadan, a holy month in Islam, is also happening right now. But whatever the reason, his family here in Cardiff will just be relieved and delighted to have him home.
OK, Colette, thank you very much. Colette Hume there. A year ago, the Court of Appeal quashed the convictions of 39 people who ran post offices, including Noel Thomas from Anglesey. Noel was jailed in 2006 for false accounting. He was among more than 700 people who received criminal convictions due to the faulty Horizon computer system. It was one of the UK's biggest miscarriages of justice. He's been speaking to BBC Panorama as some still wait for compensation and damages.
Money was going missing. There was a lady and a gentleman, and as she walked through the door, she said, "The thief is there. Cuff him." We went into court, and the judge said, "I'm sentencing you," he said, "to 9 months, and I was waiting for suspended sentence," and he said, "No, I'm sorry," he said, "take it down." I never knew the day was so long. It was horrible.
The Post Office says it's sincerely sorry for the impact of the Horizon scandal, and they've provided swift financial relief with interim payments of up to £100,000 paid to the majority of people who've had their convictions overturned. That's ahead of final settlements. And you can see more on that in Panorama, the Post Office scandal, tonight at 10:40 on BBC One Wales. People in Cardiff have raised thousands of pounds to replant more than 50 trees destroyed by vandals in Butte Park. Melissa Boothman, who owns a cafe in the park, started a crowdfunding for a community orchard after speaking to customers. Artwork and workshops could be incorporated if a target of £10,000 is reached. Cardiff Council says it's looking closely at the plans. And after years of searching, a group of baton twirlers from Carmarthenshire are celebrating after securing a new practice venue. Finding a suitable building has been a challenge for the twirlers, but they've now moved into and taken over the management of Canolfan Carwyn Leisure Centre.
Once restrictions lifted, we just started doing little bits here and there once we were allowed to train here. And the executives, they obviously noticed and they were like, wow, you're doing such a great job here. And then they offered us then, would you like to take over the management of the place? So that was like a dream come true for us, because it's always been our dream to have our own building.
A man from Wales has made history after he and his partner became the first same-sex couple to get married in Antarctica. Stephen Carpenter from Caerphilly and husband Eric Bourne are stewards on the RRS Sir David Attenborough. They've been together for 20 years and say when they get leave, they'll have a party for family and friends in the warmer climes of Spain. Well, let's get the weather forecast here now. Sabrina joins me. How's it looking for the start of the week?
Hi Jen. Well, a largely dry week in store. Temperatures a little lower through this week, but the winds will be lighter too, so that should balance out to some fairly settled conditions. Coming up through this afternoon then, the story fairly straightforward. Just a few isolated showers, otherwise dry for the vast majority, with some sunny spells and patchy cloud. The winds generally coming from the east-northeast, light to locally moderate in strength, and those highs around 13 to 15 degrees Celsius. Bar the odd shower this evening, it should remain dry, and that dry theme also continuing through the overnight stretch under mostly clear conditions. It will turn chilly though for inland areas, the risk for a touch of frost, together with a few localised mist and fog patches. Tomorrow then, after a chilly start, we should see some fairly decent spells of sunshine across the country, and as the day gets going, that's when we'll see more in the way of cloud builds. Just the chance for a few isolated showers, otherwise another dry day for the vast majority, with winds generally light to moderate from the east-northeast, with highs of 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. Then through the middle to latter part of the week, high pressure anchored across the UK. You can see there's not many isobars on the chart, so that indicates relatively light winds. There's a lot of dry weather in store too. On Wednesday, we sort of have a west-east split, so best of those sunny spells further west, cloudier further east, but still largely dry. Back to you, Jen.
Sabrina, thank you. And that is Wales Today. I'll be back for this evening's programme at 6:30, but until then, from everyone on the Lunchtime team, thanks for watching and do have a very good afternoon. Bye-bye.
I've lost count of how many times I've been arrested.
I've been through hell and back.
Just because